Western civilization is in crisis. Now that's a statement that begs a few questions, but no matter what you call it, the West, Christendom, civilization, the culture that grew out of the Christian traditions is decaying. And it's decaying on all fronts. Our politics is being hollowed out and corrupted. Our social structures are being subverted. Our morality is being maligned and attacked. Our philosophical underpinnings are being entirely subverted. Our artistic endeavours are being coarsened and stripped of any sense of beauty or transcendence. And the very building blocks of our society, family, justice and our very rights to life are being undermined and attacked. Our individual liberties, rights and freedoms are being destroyed and taken from us. Biological realities are denied, science is abused, our great institutions are being corrupted and subverted. But happily we have got the answer to all of these problems, and the answer is Jesus Christ. Now, if you value living in a rational and scientific society, a society which has created the greatest amount of wealth and prosperity in human history, if you like having a rule of law that's applicable to all equally, if you like individual liberty and freedom and being able to think and speak in the way in which you believe, then you have a vested interest in living in a Christian society. Now there are some people like Douglas Murray who, despite being atheistic themselves, appreciate the value of living in a society based on Christian traditions, philosophies and morality. Others like me understand that Christian society represents most closely the way in which we are supposed to live, because only by being fully Christian can we be fully human. This Christian society is not a dictatorial theocracy, but a society of evangelized and believing Christians living their lives as closely as they can to the teachings of Jesus Christ. And so, to save our society from the decay that we experience, we must re-Christianize it. We must re-evangelize every man and woman and give them the strength and encouragement to make the West great again. And we have so many tools to do that. We have got the Greek and Jewish traditions, we have the life of Christ, we have the Bible, we have the lives of the apostles and the tradition of the church fathers. We have the example of the saints. We have 2,000 years of Christian thought and philosophy and morality and tradition and worship. We have 2,000 years of Christians formed and steeped in that tradition, the tradition that gave us the great arts, science, medicine, culture, architecture, the rule of law and our civic institutions. It was Christians that gave us the Magna Carta and the American Constitution, and Christian society that gave it education and democracy and the means of exchanging our labour for capital, and has given us standards of living that would be unthinkable to those who came before us or those who do not share our traditions. So if you enjoy the fruits of these institutions, then you have a stake in the preservation of a Christian society, whether or not you accept that the person of Jesus is God or that God exists at all. Most of all, we have an institution founded by Jesus himself, whose leaders succeed the men that he chose and have been given a special power and grace to be a light to men and bring us back into harmony with God so that we can live with him forever in heaven. This institution is so powerful that it can teach and forgive in the name of God himself. And in this time of crisis, this institution, this place of refuge, this beacon of what we should be and the keeper of the keys to our eternal home, has conformed itself so utterly to the whims of the age that her example and her voice is of a barely traceable value. Our society is sick, and rather than offering the medicine that only she has, the Church has instead decided to ape that illness and apologise for her health. The good in the Church have become silent. or too meek to boldly profess the truths that the world needs to hear. The only boldness in the church comes from those who seek to conform her to the world. And when brave clergymen like Father Mark Goring or Deacon Nick Donnelly decide to speak out against the corruption in the church, then they are told by their superiors to cease and desist, to shut up, to be quiet. Senior clergy abuse their position in order to try and hush up those who cannot stay silent over the nature of the corruption in the church. And so it's left to laymen, fathers, families, like me, to speak up in their place. I will not stay silent on the abuse of the faithful by evil predators like Theodore McCarrick, or the abuse of the faith of faithful men and women by those who want to turn the truth of the Catholic faith into something else for their own purposes. The war within the church must end. The church must go back to being a faithful disciple of our Lord and her bride Jesus Christ. We must embrace and proclaim her teachings, because her teachings are his teachings, and he created us, and he knows us more than we know ourselves. The civil war in the church must stop. We must stop telling lies in order to conform to the world. We must boldly proclaim the truth of Christ. And if we proclaim that truth, then the church may sanctify the culture and make our society great again.